it's me, MC of Healthy by George. I come each week to talk about issues that we need to think about for our longevity. And this week, I'm talking about how to protect ourselves and our health goals during the holiday season, because today is Black Friday. So please think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week where we can share and motivate one another to do things daily to protect our health so that we can live well into our 80s and 90s. So, why is it important to think about our health concerns and goals during the holiday season? Because Black Friday is here, there's a tendency of overdoing it. We have a tendency of overspending. There's a tendency of overeating. There's a tendency of overdrinking. And these are all things that we do to excess during the holidays. And somehow we lose track of what is it that we want to accomplish with our health goals, thinking, I can restart in January. I mean, who hasn't thought that? I know I've done that, especially when I see a beautiful table like we did yesterday with Thanksgiving of lovely food that's been made with all kinds of care and consideration, and it's super tasty with lots of carbs and butter and gravy and then a table full of pies and dessert. Heavens to Betsy. It can be overwhelming. And there is this tendency to want to taste everything. I know me, I want to taste everything a little bit, but I often regret it. And the studies have shown recently, they did a study of 195 people that really the problem is we don't gain a lot of weight during the holidays, but the gain of the weight doesn't go away. That's the problem. When we gain weight during the holidays, unless we really truly pivot in January and become super mindful to get that excess weight that we gained off, the tendency for most people is that they've kept it on for the next year. So I don't want us to go into the new year having to focus on going back to our baseline weight. And I know I don't want that for myself. I've struggled too hard to get here. So now's the time to really focus on, especially after that big meal yesterday we had for Thanksgiving. Now is the time to think about how can I prevent myself from having a holiday weight gain. The key is that it's about having a plan. We have to have a plan. And I know for me, if it's going to some place where we're going to meet someone for dinner, or I think there's going to be all kinds of nibbles before the meal, and then this huge dessert with drinks, I really make a plan for myself. Either I have a soup, a clear broth soup before I go to the party so I don't feel ravenously hungry, and make sure that if I do have an alcoholic drink, I'm mindful of how much sugar is in that. And I will make sure that I have more water than I do alcohol. And then think about the food that you're eating. Maybe instead of starting with the carbs, which is the most delicious, we start with the protein and vegetables and get a little more nutrients into our meal. And then make an agreement that you're going to try one dessert that you want to have and maybe have just a small portion. I think we have to navigate this crazy time of our holidays because it's so easy to get into the hype of enjoying ourselves. And who doesn't want to enjoy ourselves with some delicious food? But when I was speaking to some of my family members where you have a genetic predisposition towards diabetes or a heart condition, or you have something else in your family that you need to be watching out for, you really can't allow ourselves to really take the focus off of what it is that we deeply desire when it comes to our health. So even though we might have overdone it a little bit yesterday, or even a lot, I'm not judging. Oh my gosh. I love Thanksgiving dinners more than anybody. Give me some good cornbread dressing and some gravy and some cranberry relish, and I'm a happy girl. But I also know that with my current place and where I'm eating, I can't consume that much food. I can't physically tolerate overly sweet things anymore. And if I do that, I make myself so miserable with my stomach and indigestion during the night that it's not worth it. So I have to remind myself about that. So, what do you have to remind yourself about when it comes to eating during the holiday season? Is it about your sweet tooth that really makes you go to town and that it's very difficult? Is it about the fact that you want to try new alcoholic drinks? Let's face it, there are so many new mixed drinks out there, but we can be smart about that. I always ask if it has a sugar syrup, is if they can leave that out, or if they can give me only a teaspoon of that. Because seriously, the alcohol plus the sugar syrup, holy moly, we're talking about a double whammy when it comes to sugar for our bodies. And then, of course, it's the carbs. I adore a good carb. Who doesn't? So it's the potatoes, it's the mashed potatoes, it's the macaroni and cheeses, it's the cornbread dressing, it's the corn soufflés, it's the potato soufflés, and even the green beans have some kind of a mushroom dressing or a mushroom and creamy sauce that it's in. So really, it's about making everything that we eat highly palatable and tasty with lots of fat and things that are just so tasty. But the truth is, it's really not the most useful to go overboard. Give yourself some limitations. Give yourself a sense of how you're going to help yourself. So, the key is when we are celebrating during the holidays, let's remember to celebrate that we want to be a healthy, aging, older adult, that we want to stay functional. And that part of that is making a contingency plan that we stay consistent. Maybe we stay consistent with our 20-minute workout every day. Maybe we stay consistent with that walk after eating. Maybe we stay consistent with just choosing to, again, maybe not go to any kind of parties or dinners out or places where there's only going to be hors d'oeuvres that are rich and you can't keep track of what you're eating. I know I never can. Maybe we do that and we say, I'm going to drink a glass of water for every hors d'oeuvre I have, or I'm going to drink a glass of water and only have one drink or one glass of wine. That is the key, is that we make a plan. Because sometimes the weight that we gain during the holidays is not the weight that we want to gain. It's not muscle weight, it's fat. And that's not something that we can get rid of as easily. And so making a plan so that when you show up on that January 2nd day and you've gone through the holidays, that you really haven't gained any weight. Maybe you've gained a pound. That's reasonable. But if to come to January 2nd and you've gained 5 or 7 pounds, that's sometimes we beat ourselves up mentally with some language that we doesn't serve us. So let's start now before we get deep into the holidays with Thanksgiving behind us, reminding ourselves what is truly important every single day is to help ourselves be the best version of who we are so that we can stay healthy and functional spiritually, mentally, and physically well into our 80s and 90s. Maybe looking at a mantra every day that you want to stay healthy for your grandchildren, stay healthy for your partner, stay healthy for the people who love you and who are your friends and family, that we stay healthy and engaging in our health as we get older so that we can be a thriving, independent individual who doesn't have to rely on anyone else because we're not frail, we're not demented, we're fully capable of managing who we are well into our older age. I know that's what my desire is, and I hope it's yours too. So please make a plan this holiday season. Let Black Friday be a process for you to remember what's most important, to take care of ourselves so that we can be the best version of who we are as long as possible. So be well, my friend. You have this one precious life. Let's live it to the fullest and make sure that we are all that we can be for as long as we possibly can stay engaged in our life the best possible way. So please think about subscribing. I'd love to see you here. And I'm thinking of going live so that we can share and motivate each other with questions and concerns that maybe are your bothersome ideas and thoughts. I would love to see you on live on Wednesdays in December so that we can stay on track, stay engaged in our plan, not throw in the towel. That's so easy to do. I know I've done it before myself. So please think about subscribing and check out my live casting on Wednesday. I think it's the 9th, but I'll publish that later on. Be well, my friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.